In the state of Washington, there are many U.S. national forests. Our trip took us about 100 miles north of Spokane, passing through Deer Park, Chewelah, Colville, and Orient along the way. As we drove along the highway, watching as the trees became thicker, the mountains started closing in on us from all angles, we spotted Lake Roosevelt, which appeared to be almost as dry as Chris's sense of humor. Soon after the lake, we started spotting signs informing us of our entry into the Colville National Forest. We stopped at a place known as Pierre Lake, which lies within the Colville National Forest and is overseen by the Department of Agriculture. On our way in, we stumbled across a geocache filled with trinkets and other odds and ends. Staying true to the code of geocaching, we wrote in its journal and left behind an item of our own. The lake was home to camping sites with fire stoves and even running water. There were picnic areas with restroom facilities and signs posted throughout the camping areas. Established in 1907 and encompassing a total area of 1.1 million acres of northeastern Washington, the Colville National Forest lays in between two major rivers, the Columbia to the west and the Okanagan to the east, with the Selkirk mountain range running through the heart. To the north lies a strange land whose name is only whispered among close friends and at the occasional comedy club. This Canada acts as the northern border of the forest. The Colville National Forest covers Pend Oreille, Ferry, and Stevens counties, as well as the Kalispel Indian community of the Kalispel Reservation, the Confederate tribes of the Colville Reservation, and even the Spokane tribe of the Spokane Reservation. There are 4 established ranger stations within the forest, and 1 main supervisor office which maintains the 4 ranger districts. The ranger stations include Three Rivers Station in Kettle Falls, Republic Station in Republic, and the Newport and Sullivan Lake stations in Newport. People who venture to the forest, locals and tourists alike, seem to enjoy a whole host of activities, including but not limited to hiking, backpacking, camping, wild huckleberry picking, mountain biking, horseback riding, rock climbing, swimming, kayaking, canoeing, boating, paddleboarding, fishing, running, stargazing, geocaching, with nearby recreational pursuits such as the Little Pend Oreille Wildlife Refuge and the Lake Roosevelt National Recreation Area. Federal forest management dates back to 1876, when Congress created the Office of Special Agent in the U.S. Department of Agriculture to assess the quality and conditions of forests in the United States. In 1881, the department expanded the office into the Division of Forestry. A decade later, Congress passed the Forest Reserve Act of 1891, authorizing the President to designate public lands in the West into what were then called forest reserves. Responsibility for these forest reserves fell under the Department of Interior until 1905, when President Teddy Roosevelt transferred their care to the Department of Agriculture's new U.S. Forest Service. Gifford Pinchot led this new agency as its first chief, charged with caring for the newly renamed national forests. Which, according to our textbook, there are 3 purposes of the United States Forest Service. 1. To preserve and protect the forest within the reservation. 2. For the purpose of securing favorable conditions of water flows. And 3. To furnish a continuous supply of timber for the use and necessities of the people of the United States. Along the trail that encircled the campground, we observed various waterfowl on the lake. Along with a bear named Jackson on the trail itself, we even came across a snake who did not take kindly to being picked up, I will assure you of that. Other wildlife found in the area include whitetail, blacktail, and mule deer, cougars, bears, black, brown, and grizzly, which make their way in from Canada, and multiple herds of elk, along with the last remaining herd of caribou in the United States. Eventually, we ran into the campground's boat launch, which had a few signs explaining safety concerns and other warnings as part of the U.S. Forest Service regulations, in line with their values. As our hike drew to a close, we made sure to keep our trash to ourselves, being careful to follow the pack it in, pack it out principles the United States Forest Service had in place. When we finally reached the car and began the long drive home, we made sure to capture one last glimpse of Pierre Lake, along with a sign letting us know we had left the Colville National Forest behind us.